Welcome to GameScope, the show that zeroes in on the latest releases to help you decide if they're worth your precious gaming time.
That's right.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into a game that's definitely caused a bit of a stir. It's a really fascinating departure for a studio we know well, FBC, Firebreak.
It's a really interesting one, isn't it? I mean, Remedy Entertainment, they've built this legendary reputation, really, on crafting these super intricate, story-driven single-player games.
Oh yeah, Max Payne, Alan Wake Control.
Exactly, Icon. So when they announced a co-op multiplayer shooter spin-off from Control, well, it definitely made people go, huh, you know, raise more than a few eyebrows.
Totally. It's like finding out your favorite indie director is suddenly doing a generic action movie. Just unexpected.
Precisely.
So our mission today is basically to unpack this weird game that wants you to think it's normal, as one critic so brilliantly put it.
That nails it, yeah.
We want to understand what kind of bureaucratic chaos this Federal Bureau of Control side hustle actually unleashes. Is it a brilliant new direction for Remedy? Is it just a temporary diversion, keep the lights on between the big single-player epics? Or is it just, well, a mess, a chaotic mess of sentient sticky notes and weird supernatural paperwork?
And right from the jump, you look at the initial reception, and it gives us a lot to chew on. The reviews are, let's just say they're all over the place. A real mixed bag.
Yeah. How mixed are we talking?
Well, if you look at Metacritic, the PC version's got a mixed or average Metascore. It's sitting at a 65 out of 100 based on 40 critic reviews.
Okay, 65. So not terrible, but definitely not setting the world on fire. Lukewarm, maybe?
Exactly. Lukewarm is a good word. But then here's the kicker. You look at the user score on Metacritic, it drops way down, like a 5.1 out of 10.
Wow, 5.1. That's a big gap between critics and players. It's pretty divisive, huh?
Hugely divisive. And you see that pattern elsewhere, too. OpenCritic, the aggregator site, it gives it a slightly higher average score, a 75 out of 100.
Okay, 75 sounds better.
But, and this is the important bit, only a 53% recommendation rate from 20 reviews. So even the critics who maybe scored it okay, barely half of them are actually telling people, yeah, go play this.
Right. That recommendation rate is telling. It's fine, I guess, but maybe don't rush out and buy it.
Pretty much. And then you go over to Steam, where the players really let you know what they think. User reviews are straight up mixed. It's got 67% positive out of nearly 1,500 reviews.
67% positive is technically mixed on Steam's scale, right?
Yep. So it's clear Firebreak isn't universally loved. But some people are definitely digging it. Some are feeling the heat, as you said.
And that level of division, that's exactly why it's perfect for a deep dive, isn't it? It means the game's doing something really right for some people and something really wrong for others.
Absolutely. There's a lot to unpack here.
Okay, so to really get why Firebreak is so divisive, we kind of need to go back to its roots, right? Back to the setting. The oldest house.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the core of it. It's the heart of Control's identity, and Firebreak throws us right back in there.
We're returning to the headquarters of the Federal Bureau of Control. That huge, shifting, brutalist thing. The oldest house. And this game picks up about 6 years after the original Control.
Which, for fans of the first game, is a huge draw. I mean, people love the oldest house. Critics pretty much universally praised it. Some said it was arguably the best part of Control, which was already, fairly filled with good things. The environment itself was just stellar.
It wasn't just a backdrop. It felt alive or, weirdly sentient.
Totally. And what makes it so compelling is that architectural schizophrenia, as you could call it. Eurogamer had this great description talking about how you've got polished concrete in these normal-looking wooden glass-lined conference rooms.
Right. Standard government building stuff.
And then suddenly they butt right up against weird Lovecraftian mines with slate roofs and horrible things growing in the dark. It's that clash. The mundane, soul-crushing bureaucracy meets this deeply unsettling, reality-bending, supernatural horror.
It's not just scenery. It's actively messing with you, shifting around, throwing new stuff at you.
Exactly. It elevates the setting. It's part of the challenge. You're fighting the building as much as the enemy sometimes.
And speaking of enemies, unfortunately for the FBC and for you as the player, the Hiss, they didn't exactly pack up and leave after the first game.
No, apparently not. IGN mentioned they've basically taken up permanent residence, like supernatural squatters. They're still plaguing the Bureau, so this isn't a quick mop-up job.
It's ongoing, a bureaucratic nightmare, but with, interdimensional monsters trying to kill you while you fill out your timesheets.
The his infestation isn't a crisis Jesse Faden solves once and for all. It's become this, like, endemic problem. It needs constant, grimy maintenance.
Which brings us to, well, who's doing this maintenance? What's your job in all this mess? Because you're not Jesse Faden anymore.
Right, big shift. Instead of playing the director with all her cool powers, you and up to 2 friends are now. Well, Eurogamer and IGN had some colorful descriptions. Endlessly expendable janitors.
Expendable janitors. Love it.
Or underprepared first responders. It's a total perspective shift. You're not the superhero boss lady. You're the grunt on the ground cleaning up the supernatural gunk.
You're not saving the world. You're just trying to survive your shift without getting, like, assimilated by possessed office furniture.
Pretty much. And the missions reflect that. These aren't epic quests. You're sent into parts of the oldest house that, in Control, were often just quick visual jokes, one-shot gags.
Like what? Give me an example.
Okay, remember that room just covered in Post-it notes?
Vaguely, yeah. Weird visual.
Well, Eurogamer pointed out now it's a full mission. You literally have to clean up a sticky note infestation. And maybe fight a giant Post-it monster.
A giant Post-it monster. Seriously.
Apparently. Or that weirdly clever furnace from the first game. Minor set piece then. Now it's another mission. You're fixing machinery, stepping inside turbines. It's dangerous janitorial work.
It sounds completely bizarre. Making the mundane menacing, as IGN put it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're not just fighting like generic hiss monsters. You're dealing with sentient sticky note infestations or radioactive leeches that you literally have to capture and, in one case, throw into a furnace on wheels.
Furnace on wheels. This is getting better and better.
It's this inherent absurdity, right? But that's what gives the game its unique flavor, its tonal quirk.
Yeah, the GameSpot talked about that, the colorful and comedic tone. Like, characters are still worrying about overtime pay and needing to fill out workplace forms.
While literal cosmic horrors unfolding around them.
It's the ultimate, it's a hard job, but someone's got to do it situation, like IGN said. That mix of, Lovecraftian dread and dreary office life, that's pure Remedy, even in a co-op shooter.
They really managed to translate that unique voice, didn't they? It makes the absurd feel, well, absurdly normal within that context.
Which leads us to this whole weird factor, or maybe like inverted weirdness.
Yeah, Eurogamer made this really sharp distinction. They said Control was a fairly normal game that wanted you to think it was weird, playing with expectations.
Right. It had a solid structure underneath the strangeness.
But FBC, Firebreak, it flips the script. It's a weird game that wants you to think it's normal. That's a really profound insight into its design. They're not trying to shock you with strangeness anymore. They're trying to normalize the paranormal, make the impossible feel like just another Tuesday at the FBC.
And you feel that in the gameplay loop, right? On the surface, it looks like a standard run-based co-op shooter.
Exactly. Like you drop in, do a mission, maybe get some upgrades, try again. Sort of in the vein of Helldivers 2, maybe, or RPO, that lesser-known one.
But that surface, that sort of normal co-op shooter vibe, it's just hiding something much, much stranger underneath.
Definitely. I mean, IGN admitted they were equal parts confused and excited when it was announced.
Yeah.
And the crazy part, after 15 hours of playing it, they still felt the same way.
That says a lot. It keeps you off balance.
It really does. And PC Gamer described it as, and I love this quote, one of the messiest games I've ever played. But this is in large part because it is a game about mess.
About mess. How so?
Like literally, creating it, cleaning it up, getting caked up to your neck in it. The mess isn't just, a visual theme from the hiss. It's baked into the design, the objectives, the feel of it all.
So you have to embrace the chaos, basically, or get swallowed by the sentient goo.
Pretty much. It's a game that forces you to deal with the mess one way or another.
Okay, so if you're dealing with all this interdimensional mess and, bureaucratic sludge, you need the right tools, right? And knowing the Bureau, they're probably interesting tools.
Oh, definitely interesting. Improvised is maybe the word. They give you these crisis kits. They're basically your classist or your loadout for tackling the oldest house's unique problems.
Crisis kits. Sounds suitably bureaucratic. What are they?
So you drop in with one of 3. First up, there's the Splash Kit. PC Gamer called it a crank-powered super soaker, which is just perfect.
A super soaker. To fight the hiss.
Well, yeah. It fires water or, other liquids later on. Use it to put out fires, obviously, but also to wet enemies, setting them up for combos, or even dilute nasty status effects on your teammates, like literally wash off the corruption.
Huh. Okay, versatile.
Very. Eurogamer even called it the best kit, maybe because it has so many uses. Then you got the Fix Kit, Comes with a massive wrench.
For hitting things.
Well, yes, you can definitely bash stuff with it, but its main job is repairing machinery. Lights go out, breaker boxes get hissified, you fix them. It's the handyman special.
Makes sense. Got to keep the lights on, even during an invasion. And the third one?
The jump kit. This one has an electro-shocking contraption, according to GameSpot. It zaps enemies, obviously.
Yeah.
But it can also instantly charge up machinery, bypassing the fix kit's repair job.
Oh, neat trick.
And, true to its name, it lets you rocket jump, like proper Quake-style rocket jumping around the map. Gives you crazy mobility.
Okay, those sound distinct and weirdly practical for the FBC's problems.
They really do mimic, but also kind of subvert, the usual co-op class roles. IGN pointed out that regardless of which kit you choose, there's always an opportunity to feel like a key player.
So everyone feels useful, no dead weight.
Exactly. It's role-playing, FBC style. You've got your specific, bizarre job to do, whether it's dousing sentient flames or jump-starting a possessed photocopier.
And the real magic happens when these kits work together, I bet. The synergies.
That's where the game really clicks, those aha moments. Eurogamer said the core gameplay really revolves around figuring out how these kits work in concert with one another.
So like one player wets an enemy with the splash kit.
And then the jump kit buddy zaps them for massive electrical damage. Both Eurogamer and GameSpot highlighted that one. It's super satisfying when you pull it off.
Nice. Are there other interactions, like with the environment?
Oh yeah, definitely. The environment's a huge part of it. You can use zip lines to put out fires.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently the rush of air works. Someone literally wrote, "Wind beats fire." Nice.
Huh. Love that kind of emergent gameplay.
Or you can shoot the room sprinklers, douse a whole area, and set up your jump kit friend for a big shock fest. It encourages you to think tactically, not just shoot wildly.
What if your team comp isn't ideal, though? Like, you need to fix something, but nobody brought the wrench.
That's actually a pretty smart bit of design. The game usually gives you alternative means to complete a kit-specific task. IGN and the Gamer mentioned this. If you don't have a fix kit, you can still repair stuff using this, like, surprisingly stressful rhythm game button press.
A rhythm game to fix a breaker box.
Yep. It's a neat little workaround. It means you're not totally screwed if you have, say, 3 splash kits. You can still muddle through, which feels very FBC, honestly, make do and mend.
Okay, that's clever. But it is a shooter. How's the actual shooting? Remedy's done shooter-ish games, but this is full-on FPS, right?
It is. First person through and through. And the feedback here is, well, another mixed bag. GameSpot said that at its best, it actually feels like a good one. Responsive,
And visually? Does it look cool when you're fighting?
Yeah. IGN noted the relentless array of flashy particle effects and vibrant lighting. It definitely looks striking. That's the Northlight engine doing its thing. Pure Remedy spectacle.
What about the guns themselves? What do you start with?
Pretty basic stuff. An SMG, a double-barrel shotgun. You unlock more later machine guns, even a humble revolver. Standard shooter progression, mostly.
I sense a butt coming.
Yeah, here come the pain points. A lot of people felt that, especially early on, both the kits and the guns feel kind of underpowered. GameSpot mentioned this specifically about the jump kit's shock weapon. It lacks that satisfying oomph, that audiovisual feedback. You're shocking things, but it doesn't always feel powerful.
Right. You're not sure if you're actually doing much damage.
Exactly. And PC Gamer, plus a bunch of people on Reddit, felt the combat generally had a slower, softer feel compared to Control's really punchy gunplay. Some went further, calling the gunplay abysmal and saying you don't feel powerful at all.
Ouch. Abysmal is harsh for a shooter.
It really is. That's a core mechanic feeling weak to some players, which leads into this other big thing, the drudgery.
Drudgery, like the game feels like a chore.
Sometimes, yeah. The whole premise is basically janitorial work.
Right.
Repetitive tasks.
Yeah.
Eurogamer's reviewer, who hilariously said they like drudgery, like doing dishes.
Okay, weird flex, but all right.
Huh. They noted that while a bit of drudgery can be okay, even charming, in Firebreak, the levels can get knackeringly long, and that throws the balance off. It goes from quirky chore to just tiring.
So, less thrilling supernatural combat, more endless mopping.
Yeah, they described the worst levels feeling like an endless shift on a very sleepy ward. Just lacking that urgency, that chaos you expect. Imagine fixing the same type of machine over and over with hardly any enemies. It risks feeling less like a game and more like, well, an actual boring job.
Which is a dangerous line to walk for a game about fighting interdimensional horrors. You want chaos, not quiet quitting vibes.
Precisely. It's a fine line between charmingly mundane and just plain boring, and it sounds like Firebreak stumbles over it sometimes.
Okay, let's talk about the actual work then. The missions, the difficulty, how replayable this whole thing is. What's the mission structure like?
Well, right off the bat, there's a bit of a concern about quantity. At launch, the game only had 5 main job sites or missions.
Only 5.
Uh,
That's doesn't sound like a lot for a co-op game you're meant to replay.
It's definitely on the thin side. And each of those 5 jobs is split into 3 clearance levels. Think of them as difficulty tiers, or sections of the mission. You usually have to beat clearance level 1 to unlock 2, then 2 to unlock 3, which often ends in a boss or some big finale.
So you're forced to replay the same basic mission area multiple times just to see the whole thing.
Pretty much. It's a way to gate progression,
Hmm.
but yeah, it definitely adds to that feeling of repetition we talked about.
Did the missions at least feel different from each other?
Visually, yes, absolutely. IGN said the visual identity of each mission is wildly different and wholly unique. They describe things like chubby, pink, foam-filled turbine halls,
Pink foam, okay.
or dimly lit office spaces consumed by frost anomalies.
Mm-hmm.
So they look really cool and distinct.
Mm.
But functionally, the gamer pointed out that the core tasks often boil down to the same few things. Destroy this supernatural infestation, or go find some stuff and bring it back.
Ah, so dazzling window dressing on fairly standard objectives.
Kind of feels that way sometimes, like that paper chase mission, the one with the killer sticky notes. You're cleaning up an enormous carpet of them. They block your vision. They can actually kill you if you get too covered.
Office supplies as environmental hazards. That's very Remedy.
Totally. Or the 5th job, where you're chucking flame-spewing heaters into juddering ice anomalies, trying to balance the FBC's thermostat, basically. The concepts are wild, but the question is, do they hold up when you're doing them for the 3rd time on a higher difficulty?
Especially if the difficulty ramps up awkwardly. You mentioned issues there.
Yeah, the difficulty seems to be all over the place. PC Gamer reported really inconsistent challenge. Clearance level 1, often laughably easy, like a cakewalk.
Okay, gentle introduction.
But then clearance level 2 can suddenly swing from reasonably challenging to feeling virtually impossible. No smooth curve, just wham, brick wall.
That sounds frustrating, like the game's just randomly deciding to punish you.
It can feel like that. PC Gamer gave specific examples, that sticky note mission, paper chase. Apparently, the secondary just becomes this grinding, attritional stalemate against endless hiss. Sounds like zero fun.
Just a war of attrition against paper cuts. Got it.
And the finale of the pink goo level, frequency shift. They called it downright broken. So the goo regenerated almost instantaneously, blocking paths, making it feel impossible to progress. That's not just hard, that's potentially bad design.
Yikes. Okay, so if the core missions are few and the difficulty is wonky, how do they handle replayability? Is there anything to mix things up?
There is, actually, and it's one of the more clever ideas. Corrupted items. These are randomized modifiers that change how a level plays each time you run it.
Oh, like mutators. What kind of stuff do they do?
All sorts of weird things. You might get a haunted traffic light that makes you slow down, or an evil flying stapler that wildly increases enemy health,
An evil flying stapler? Of course.
or even a globe that lowers the zone's gravity. They really lean into the FBC weirdness with these.
Do they always make things harder?
No, that's the interesting part. Some are actually good for you. Low gravity can be fun, make movement easier, or maybe enemies explode when they die, setting off immensely helpful chain reactions.
Ah, so it adds unpredictability. Could be good, could be bad, keeps you on your toes.
Exactly. IGN said these modifiers frequently provided a fresh challenge and delivered some unbelievably frustrating and hilarious multiplayer moments. That emergent chaos is where co-op can really shine.
But does it actually fix the replayability issue, given there are only 5 core missions you're repeating anyway?
That's the debate. IGN felt it offered reasonable replayability. But PC Gamer argued the opposite. They felt the clearance system itself, forcing you to replay sections, actually reduces the overall replay value.
How so?
Because by the time you unlock and beat clearance level 3, you've already seen most of that mission environment and its core objectives at least twice. The corrupted items add spice, but the main course feels familiar fast. You feel done with it quicker.
That makes sense. Like the structure designed to extend playtime actually makes you tired of the content sooner? Interesting paradox.
It really is.
So, how do you actually survive all this, especially with difficulty spikes and killer office supplies? Are there, like, health packs, safe rooms?
Kinda. There are these crucial in-mission resources. Eurogamer mentioned stations you can keep running. Things like respawn points, obviously vital, weapon restockers, and importantly, shower blocks for getting rid of goo or Post-its.
Shower blocks. You literally have to shower off the corruption. Love it.
Gotta stay clean for the Bureau. But here's the twist. These stations aren't always reliable. IGN and GameSpot pointed out they can falter and break as the hiss mess things up. And their locations can actually move around as you revisit levels.
Whoa, okay, so you can't just memorize where the health station is?
Nope, you gotta constantly reassess, find your resources as another layer of dynamic challenge. But thankfully, the game is a bit forgiving. If your whole team wipes, you don't necessarily fail instantly. You have a series of lives to use before it's actually game over.
Okay, a buffer. That's good, especially if the difficulty can be brutal.
Definitely needed, based on some of those reports.
All right, let's talk about getting promoted from expendable grunt to slightly less expendable certified chaos manager. There's progression, right? Leveling up your janitor.
Oh yeah, there's a whole system. As you play, you level up, and you can unlock and buy stuff. Eurogamer mentioned entertaining guns, fun sprays, presumably different ammo types for your splash kit, and of course those big ultimates.
How does the upgrade system work? Is it complicated?
It's split into two main trees. You've got a requisition tree, that's for your practical stuff, new guns, kit upgrades, that sort of thing, things you requisition from the Bureau.
Makes sense. And the other tree.
That's the research tree, and it's all about passive perks. Things like faster reloading, stronger melee attacks with the wrench, maybe throwing objective items further, stuff your janitor researches on the side, I guess.
Okay. And these perks, do they get stronger?
Yep, each perk has 3 tiers. Weak, strong, and in the top tier is called resonant.
Resonant. What's special about that?
This is actually one of the coolest parts of the progression, according to GameSpot. They called it massively game-changing. When you max out a perk to resonant, its effect doesn't just apply to you. It applies to other players in your party when they're close to you.
Whoa, like an aura, so you can share buffs.
Exactly. IGN and GameSpot both highlighted this. It means experienced players can actually boost the whole team just by being nearby. Imagine someone with resonant faster reload joins your game. Suddenly, everyone reloads faster around them.
That's awesome. It encourages teamwork and makes high-level players really valuable to the group.
Totally. It allows for some really cool builds, too. GameSpot mentioned one player made a melee monster of a fixer who barely needed to shoot, just smashed everything with the resonant wrench perks. Another made a super fast jumper with awesome throw distance, built entirely around grabbing objectives quickly. You can really specialize.
Turning your janitor into a weird kind of superhero. I like it.
Pretty much. And then you have the ultimates, the big guns. The office party fireworks, as you call them.
Yeah, tell me about those again. They sounded wild.
They really are the visual highlights. Each kid gets one. The wrench ultimate, it's a piggy bank that explodes. Eurogamer warned, you really don't want to be around when it breaks. It sounds chaotic.
A piggy bank bomb. Okay, what about the others?
The jump kit's ultimate launches a lawn gnome.
A lawn gnome?
Yep, and this gnome creates a massive electric storm, decimating anything within its radius. GameSpot said it feels like playing as Storm from the X-Men. Just pure electrical chaos.
That sounds amazing. And
Yeah.
the splasher, the water gun.
Its ultimate switches from water to firing gobs of lava. Basically turns your super soaker into a temporary lava thrower.
Okay, these sound suitably over the top for Remedy. Very flashy.
Definitely.
Yeah.
GameSpot called them eye-catching displays that command your attention like a fireworks show.
Hmm.
You know, when someone pops an ultimate, the screen just erupts.
So, cool progression, cool ultimates. But is there enough of it? Does it keep you playing long-term, or does it feel like a grind?
Ah, that's the million-dollar question for any multiplayer game, isn't it? And here, the opinions diverge again. Some critics, like IGN, felt there just aren't enough upgrades to work towards in the long term. They felt the investment seemed dubious at best after a while.
So, you hit the level cap or unlock everything too quickly?
Potentially. And Reddit users definitely echoed that. Some found the progression boring and grindy. Like maybe the path to getting those cool resonant perks or ultimates felt more like a chore than fun.
But wait, didn't you say earlier the game wasn't grindy, that it rejected live service stuff?
Yes, and this is where it gets really fascinating and honestly quite refreshing. GameSpot called this Firebreak's most refreshing attribute its intentional rejection of many hamster wheel live service elements.
What does that mean in practice?
It means Remedy explicitly said, no daily challenges, no weekly chores, no limited time events with exclusive rewards you'll miss out on if you don't play right now, No FOMO, fear of missing out.
Wow, that's rare, especially for a co-op game launching now.
Incredibly rare. GameSpot put it perfectly. It's not asking to be your next part-time job like virtually every other multiplayer game now does, and this ends up feeling like an addition by subtraction. The gamer even called it one of the most ethical multiplayer games you can play this year.
Ethical multiplayer. I like the sound of that. Play because it's fun, not because you feel obligated by some battle pass timer.
Exactly. They're respecting your time.
Right.
But there's a potential downside to that approach, isn't there?
Yeah, I can see it. If there's no constant drip feed of new rewards or challenges, maybe players just finish the content, max out their builds, and leave. Less stickiness.
That's the risk. It's a bold stance prioritizing player respect over endless engagement metrics. It's admirable, but in a super crowded market, does a game that doesn't constantly demand your attention get forgotten? It's a really interesting design choice with big implications.
Okay, so we've looked at the setting, the gameplay, the progression. Let's bring it all together. The final verdict is FBC, Firebreak Controlled Chaos, or just a chaotic mess. The reviews were all over the place, you said.
Truly all over the map. It really highlights how divisive this game is. Let's break down those reviews a bit more.
Give me the good stuff first. Who liked it and why?
Okay, some critics definitely found the fun. Altjar gave it an 80, calling it a solid and surprisingly confident first attempt at a totally new genre for Remedy.
Yes.
CG Magazine gave it an 8 out of 10, saying it was a genuinely fun and challenging co-op shooter.
Solid scores. Anyone go higher.
Yeah, GameGrin went with a 9 out of 10, called it an absolute blast to play, and Shack News gave it an 8, seeing it as an impressive multiplayer take on the Control universe. So for these critics, the unique charm, the co-op chaos, the visuals, it all clicked.
All right, so it definitely worked for some. Now, what about the more mixed feelings?
That's where a lot of the big names landed. Eurogamer gave it a 60 out of 100. Called it a bizarre, improbable thing that felt kind of like Control fan fiction. Like it captures the vibe, but maybe not the substance.
Interesting comparison. Fan fiction.
PC Gamer also landed on 60, specifically calling out the balancing issues and limited replay value core problems we've discussed. The Gamer gave it a 70, praised the ethical approach, but questioned the long-term appeal because of the lack of content.
Even GameSpot, who gave it an 80, admitted it has its fair share of issues, right?
Exactly. Even the fans acknowledged the rough edges. It wasn't blind praise.
And the negative side. Some critics really didn't like it, huh?
Oh yeah, some were pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Checkpoint Gaming gave it a 6 out of 10, found it exceedingly familiar despite the weirdness, and basically asked, who is this actually for? Like, who's the target audience?
Tough question. Any others pulling no punches?
Gaming Instincts, also a 6, had maybe the most savage line. If you suffer from insomnia, this game will drain your energy and put you to sleep faster than any pill ever could.
Ooh, that's harsh. Calling it boring, basically.
Extremely. And you saw similar stuff on Reddit. People calling it garbage, a mess, boring and unfun, complaining about repetitive missions and floaty shooting. The gap between that high praise from GameGrin and the utter dismissal from some players is just massive. It's a true love it or hate it game.
Okay, so despite the division, what are the consistent strengths people point to, even the critics with mixed feelings?
Number one is definitely the Remedy tone. Even though it's a different genre, multiple reviews, GameSpot Steve Saver, the gamer said it absolutely retains Remedy's signature strangeness, their quirkiness, their aesthetic. It feels like it belongs in the Control universe.
That's huge for fans. What else?
Visual fidelity. It looks great, gorgeous, and loaded with visual effects thanks to that Northlight engine. Especially when things get chaotic, the particle effects, the lighting, it's pure Remedy spectacle.
The Ultimates probably look amazing then.
Totally. Like fireworks, as GameSpot said. Another strength mentioned was the deep class builds. That progression system, especially the resonant perks allowing you to share buffs, lets you create genuinely powerful, specialized, superhero-like characters out of janitors. GameSpot really praised the depth there.
And the ethical stance, that came up as a positive too.
A huge positive for many. That intentional rejection of many hamster wheel live service elements, no FOMO, no predatory grind. The gamer calling it one of the most ethical multiplayer games is a big statement and clearly resonated. People appreciated not feeling manipulated.
Anything else? Smaller things.
Yeah, Eurogamer mentioned the community that sprung up was actually really good, generous, patient players helping each other out, even without built-in voice chat. That's always nice to see in co-op games. Plus, good accessibility options were noted.
And the fact it was on Game Pass and PS Plus day one, that must have helped get players in.
Absolutely. PC Gamer touched on this. Hitting over 1 million players, quickly likely gave it a much bigger audience than it might have gotten otherwise, especially with those mixed reviews. Big boost to its chances.
Okay, makes sense. Now, flip side, the weaknesses. What are the recurring complaints?
The biggest one, almost universally mentioned, is the lack of content. Thin lineup of levels and upgrades, IGN. Small maps with not enough variety, the gamer. Barely any content, Reddit. The feeling that you can see everything it has to offer in just a couple of nights.
That's a killer for a game wanting replayability. What else?
Poor tutorialization and lack of lore. This was a big one. PC Gamers said the game doesn't really explain any of this, its own unique mechanics, and assumes you're familiar with control. Key things like status effects or how kits really synergize are underexplained, according to GameSpot.
So you're left guessing.
Frustrating.
Very. And for Control fans, the lack of those deep lore documents, the files you'd find everywhere in the first game, that was a huge bummer for many on Reddit. A core part of the world building felt missing. Plus, no in-game voice chat is a practical pain for co-op.
Yeah, that's almost essential these days. What about the start of the game?
The early game experience got flagged too. GameSpot said the first impression can be a rough one, feeling underpowered, uneventful, maybe just plain messy in those first few hours. That can easily turn players off, especially if they're just trying it on Game Pass.
First impressions matter. Anything else structural? The reliance on co-op. IGN felt it leans a little too heavily on your party's coordination. Meaning, if you play with randoms who don't communicate or try to go solo, it can be way more frustrating and less fun. Success really hinges on teamwork.
Which is tough without voice chat built in.
Exactly. And finally, some technical jaggies. Reddit users reported buggy and clunky movement, or AI. Concerns about wonky netcode, meaning lag or connection issues. Technical problems can sour any online experience.
And overarching everything, this feeling that maybe its purpose is unclear.
Yeah, that existential question, I don't understand who this game was for, from Reddit. Or Xbox era wondering if Remedy lost their usual magic in a search for a wider audience.
Yeah.
It sits in this weird space, not quite a live service, not quite a traditional Remedy game. Who is it really for?
Okay. Wow, that's a lot to consider. So, wrapping it all up, what's the final takeaway on FBC? Firebreak.
It's undeniably a Remedy experiment, right? Yeah. Takes that amazing oldest house setting, tries something new. Yeah. And when it works, when you're with a good team, pulling off those weird kick combos, managing the chaos, it sounds like it could be genuinely thrilling, unique co-op fun.
And you have to admire that ethical multiplayer stance, trying not to be just another live service grind.
Absolutely. That's a bold, commendable choice.
Yeah.
But that intriguing premise, that admirable philosophy, it seems to be bumping up against some real limitations. The lack of content, the inconsistent balance, the rough onboarding, they hold it back for a lot of players.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? In a world full of games demanding all your time with daily logins and battle passes, what happens to a game that doesn't make those demands? Is it refreshing? Or does it just fade away because it doesn't have those hooks to keep you coming back day after day?
It's a huge question for the industry right now. Could this kind of spin-off be the future? A lower stakes way for big studios like Remedy to experiment, keep teams busy between their massive single-player projects? Or does Firebreak just kind of prove that maybe some studios are so good at their specific thing, like Remedy's narrative single-player games, that they should stick to that lane?
We've laid out the data, the reviews, the mechanics. What really stands out to you, the listener, about FBC? Firebreak. Is it controlled chaos you want to enlist for, or a bureaucratic mess you'd rather avoid? Lots to think about there.